Okay, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Shalom to Hopeful Leg. Now, this is a quick video on, the whole No Kings rallies and whatnot, and Trump's response. So to watch this real quick.
Millions of Americans took to the streets to protest the current administration and its policies. This was President Trump's response. The AI-generated video features President Trump in a crown, flying a fighter jet emblazoned with King Trump on its side. The president then appears to dump raw sewage on protesters. This new...
That wasn't no damn raw sewage, man. Their president is shitting on them, quite literally. And this is the, just the unseriousness. This is supposed to be America, right? The greatest nation in the world, greatest country in the world, or whatnot. Man, I bet these other leaders are watching this shit and laughing, bro. Who would have ever thought? You have a president posting a AI, made video of him basically shitting on his quote unquote subjects. That's how you know this place is through, man.
The wave of No Kings rallies, as they're called, boasted nearly 7 million attendees across 50 states. With us now, Republican strategist Doug Heye and former press secretary to then Vice President Joe Biden, Kendra Barkoff. Kendra, let me just start with you. What do you think these protests showed this weekend?
Well, they showed that people are unhappy with Donald Trump's policies. You had more than 7 million people coming out in 50 states across the country. They are angry. People voted Donald Trump to lower gas prices, to lower grocery prices, and that is clearly not happening. And on top of that, I would just say that video that he created, I am sorry, that is something that 10-year-old boys may get a good chuckle at, but the reality is, if this Republican Party, led by Donald Trump, continues to not take these people seriously, great. Let's keep it up, because that is great news for Democrats the upcoming election.
This is what President Trump had to say beyond the AI video. Listen.
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective. And the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
By the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king.
So Doug, he called them very small, very ineffective. I will note, we're just a few weeks before elections across the country here. I assume there is a risk to overstating the importance of these, but how much of a risk is there to understating the importance if you're Republicans?
Well, it certainly can tell us maybe something about Democratic intensity. But as you mentioned, we're just a few weeks away from elections in Virginia and New Jersey. And so as I saw rallies in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York, big crowds at those. But ultimately, I would rather, on one of the last Saturdays before the election, have those people knocking on doors and making phone calls and actually trying to affect elective change if I'm a Democrat.
So in so many words, right, he basically just said, these protests ain't doing shit. And that's right, bro, because what is this? What do they accomplish by doing this? Nothing. Nothing changes, right? After they're done, they're just gonna go home, might grab a coffee, they just gonna go home and doing the same shit they was doing before, bro. And nothing is changing, right? This is just folly, man. They ain't achieved shit from this. And that's basically what he's saying, right? But he's just trying to be nice with it. They ain't achieved shit from this.
Then waving signs and whatever else. It seems to me to be a missed opportunity here. And don't get me wrong, John, what is more fun? It's a great little Saturday to dress up like Kermit the Frog and, wave posters of J.D. Vance with a bald head for some reason. That's a great Saturday. What it doesn't do is it doesn't help Mikey Sherrill win in New Jersey. It doesn't help Abigail Spanberger win in Virginia. I would think that that would be the Democrats' priority. And you can do this in a politically smart way. And it's why I think that the organizers here aren't campaign people. You do this rally after the elections, because if the Democrats win these two elections, then you can demonstrate real momentum, regardless of, yes, as I would agree with Donald Trump, maybe not with all of his imagery, that some of these people aren't exactly representative of real American voters.
Organizers say more than 7 million people showed up at these 2,700 rallies to protest President Trump's policies, his agenda. So, how much does this potentially energize Democrats or other opponents of Trump's agenda, especially ahead of the New Jersey, New York, Virginia races? Might there be an impact?
Yeah, well, look, I think, there are two big problems Democrats had in 24. And I think the massive turnout at the No Kings rally suggests that one of those problems is on its way to being solved. And the other one, we're going to have to wait and see. The problem that's on its way to being solved, in 24, Democrats drooped in white-collar, well-educated suburbs that had really provided the core of the opposition to Trump in the 2018 and 2020 election. If you look at the 40 seats the Democrats won in the House in 2018, in 30 of them, there were more college graduates than ever, than average. And in 2020, Biden ran up historic margins in all of these kind of white-collar suburbs. That's the kind of voter I think predominantly you saw come out yesterday. And I think the massive turnout is a sign that those voters are very alarmed by what they are watching from this second Trump administration. And they probably are going to turn out in big numbers. And we'll be watching in places like Fairfax County, Virginia, and Bergen County, New Jersey in November to see whether that's on track. And all signs are that it is. The other the problem Democrats had in 24 was that their vote declined in a lot of heavily minority working class areas in inner cities. And that is probably less affected by the kind of issues that are motivating the marchers on the No Kings rally. I mean, these are voters who are really struggling to keep their head above water economically. So we're going to see in a place like Passaic, New Jersey, whether those voters are returning toward Democrats. But I do think, no doubt, the No Kings rally showed there's a lot of energy in these white-collar suburbs. And you're probably going to see margins that look more like 18 and 20 than 21 and 24 in those places.
Babylon the Great 2025. It looks like this looks like something out of a cartoon. Like, is this America is the laughing stock of the world right now, man, and we wouldn't want it any other way, because this place is being taken down. That's the whole point of them protesting. They can feel their way of life, slipping. They can feel their power slipping, and they don't want that. But ain't nothing they can do about it, because it's prophesied. This is Proverbs chapter 13. Actually, grab Psalms. It's Psalms chapter 94. Here at verse 8. Understand, ye brutish among the people, and ye fools, when will ye be wise? Right? And now this was talking about basically how the wicked, right, they did what they did to the Lord's people, and they were basically saying, the Lord's not going to care, he's not looking, and this statement was made. But dealing with the statement itself, right, understand, ye brutish among the people, and ye fools, when will ye be wise? Right? And there was nothing but fools protesting, and you even had some of our people out there, man. I've watched, a couple videos on those No Kings protests, and you had our people amongst them. Just fools. When will you be wise? Right? Those protests are not doing shit. I don't get it. Right? They're truly just simple creatures. Right? They're like background characters, dog. They're truly fools. Those protests not accomplishing nothing. They never have, right? If a protest was to accomplish something, it's because that's what these higher ups been wanted. That's what they wanted. Your protest ain't mean shit. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 1, verse 22. How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity, and the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge? Right, and this is mainly dealing with our people, right? Because like I said, I've seen multiple videos, and I've seen multiple, amounts of jig out there during these protests. How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? Right, how long? Because this, when you truly, are able to see and realize the ignorance amongst this world, the foolishness and the simplicity as it reads amongst this world, it's vexing. So how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? Right? And we ultimately know the answer to that. It's until it's too late. Because the Lord has them like that just so he can judge them. Out there protesting and walking for what? For nothing. All right, but again, the Lord has blinded them and just kept their eyes closed. Right? He has them simple just so he can destroy them, man. Let's grab that in Acts chapter 28. Right, this is Acts chapter 28, verse 24. And some believed the things which were spoken, and some believed not. And when they agreed not among themselves, they departed. After that Paul had spoken one word, well spake the Holy Spirit by Esaias, that being Isaiah, the prophet, unto our fathers, saying, Go unto this people, and say, Hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and not perceive. Right, because physically, you would hear the words of the Lord, right? The prophecies. You would see that the prophets out there speaking and whatnot, but you wouldn't be able to perceive or understand and hearken, because the Lord purposely blocked you from doing so, man. For the heart of this people is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes have they closed, lest they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. And the Lord doesn't want to heal you 2/3 Jakes over here in America, man. That's why he has your mind so, have you in such a low state that you would be out there protesting, talking about no kings. Because if you were in your right mind, you would know that those of us in his truth, in their right mind, Salakia, we're hastening the day of our King returning, man. Of our Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Awashai, the King of Kings. We can't wait for that day to return. You wouldn't catch us dead out there protesting, talking about no kings, man. It's Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. We start at verse 19. The desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is abomination to fools to depart from evil. Right, so it's an abomination to fools to depart from evil, man. That's how they are. Verse 20, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. And when I'm watching all these videos, right, of these protests, that's all they are, man. Just a big companion of fools soon to be destroyed. Why? Because they're marching thinking that is doing something, but it's not, and it won't, because what they're marching against is prophecy, and prophecy cannot be beat. You cannot stop prophecy. You can't hold it back, right? And dealing with our people, right, they're out there marching, instead of hearkening to the words of the Lord, right? Saying no kings, no kings, talking about Trump. But really, we love Trump. Why? Because he's pushing prophecy forward, man. And it's the Lord that has Trump, acting the way he acts, doing the thing he does. Because what the scriptures say, Egypt would be given in the hand of a cruel Lord. Let's grab that in the book of Isaiah, chapter 19. We start here at verse 4. Message to Egypt, right? Egypt spiritually being here America, Babylon the Great. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Awashai rideth upon a swift cloud, right? That being a chariot that this world, knows as a UFO, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it, right? Because the Lord's going to return here to America, and these people going to be scared out of their ass, and he's coming to bring judgment, and coming to take this place down, take this world down, take this kingdom down. Verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Going into the division that the Lord's going to bring, right? He's going to have, before he even comes to actually take down America, America's going to take down itself. It's going to implode. Verse 3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards, right? Because they just gonna be trying to find a way to keep this shit together, man. Keep this shit going, but it's all gonna come to naught because it's prophecy for this place to be taken down. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Awashai of hosts. And we believe this to be who? Dear Trump, right? That cruel Lord, that fierce king. He has to be, because why would they be these No Kings protests is just a sign of the Lord, confirming our beliefs. No kings. The Lord say he's gonna give the Egypt to the hand of a cruel Lord, a fierce king. Now you got people out here protesting no kings. Come on, man. That's proof right there. Let's look into this word cruel, right? Because that fits Trump to a T. Cruel, Quashah, Salakia, Quashah, hard, cruel, severe, obstinate, hard, difficult, severe, fierce, intense, vehement, stubborn, stiff-necked, rigorous, stiff-necked, hard, roughly, cruel, grievous, sore, churlish, hard-hearted, heavy. And all of this describes Trump. Look at the way he's moving. Right, they said this. Stephen Miller slipped up and said this man has plenary rule, plenary power. He moving how he want, right? And he is hard. Congress tell him he can't do this shit. Oh well, I'm finna do it. He's moving like a dictator. He's moving like a cruel Lord. He's moving like a fierce king. That's why they're out there protesting no kings, because that's how Trump moving, man. But it's all prophecy. So all that protesting is for nothing, because you can't stop prophecy, bro. And here in verse 3, as it reads, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. That's why they out there protested, bro. The spirit of Egypt is failing. Their way of life is failing, and they want it back. They feel it slipping. They feel it dwindling, and they trying to save it. But what do scriptures say? Right? He that loveth his life in this world shall lose it. Let's grab that in the book of John. It's John chapter 12, verse 25. He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me, and where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. Right? So he that loveth his life shall lose it. All those people out there protesting, they protested because they love their lives, but they're losing that love for it. right? Because it's getting harder to keep up with their way of life, with, you know, the way Trump's moving. So they trying to protest against it so that they can keep loving their lives, man, because America is falling, bro. Ain't no more American dream. That shit been dead. And he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. Why are they going to keep it unto life eternal? Right? Because they've been the ones hastening the day of the King of Kings and preparing for that day. Right? Instead of going out there protesting, talking about no kings. Nah. The Lord's elect, Lord willing, we be of that number. We can't wait for our king to return. And while that time is coming, we're preparing ourselves for that return. Doing the thing that the Lord asks. So when he does return, right, where we're found in his graces. But as we read earlier, in Proverbs 13 and 20, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Man, they're going to be destroyed when the Lord returns, when the true king returns. You know, because they're not even, they don't want any kings, right? So you best believe when the King of Kings returns, they're being destroyed. And let's get that in the book of Revelation. It's Revelation chapter 19. We start here at verse 14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Right? Who are they following? And I saw heaven open, and behold, well, as it reads, the title, the coming of Hamashiach, Yahushai. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. Right? And that white horse being his chariot. You know, in righteousness he doth judge and make war, right? Because the Lord's coming to judge the people of this earth, right? And ultimately to bring that final judgment and to make war, right? Making war with who? Satan and his angels, the dragon and his angels, right? You're gonna have these armies try to fight against the Lord upon his return. We read that in 2nd Esdras 13. We read that in Revelation 12. So the Lord's coming to judge and make war, but in righteousness. He's coming to take down his kingdom. Revelation 19 verse 14, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Right? That armies being the Lord's angels that return with him, right? Those thousands and thousands of thousands, you know, in their chariots. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of the almighty power. Right? Because the Lord is taking out his anger, right? Bringing his judgment through his son, through our Savior, Yahushai. And as it reads, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, right? And who else is going to rule with a rod of iron? The Lord's elect. Starting with the 144,000 men that are going to become joint heirs with Yahushua upon his return, man. That's what we're hastening. That's why we can't wait for our king to return. Let's grab Revelation chapter 2. Yeah, Revelation chapter 2 verse 25. But that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. Right? So those that endure, right, they're going to be joint heirs with Yahushua, man. And this is what we're hastening. This is what we're waiting on. This is what we're preparing ourselves for. Lord willing, again, we be of that elect. We're going back. Verse 16. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And that's none other than the Messiah, our deliverer, Yahushua. You know, that's the King of Kings is returning. So like I said before, you know, we wouldn't be caught dead out there protesting, no kings, no kings, no kings. Man, we can't wait on our king to return, right? But that's the spirit that as an Israelite you should be in. But ultimately we know only the Lord's elect going to be in that spirit in these times. The spirit of hastening the downfall of this kingdom, the spirit of hating your life here. So you know, you're not going to be out there protesting, talking about no kings. Nah, Trump doing the right thing. He bringing hell to America. Because that's what the Lord prophesied would happen in the end times. Because this shit is going to fall. And when this place falls, man, we're going to be in power. Right? Yahweh Shai is going to have his kingdom. One that dwells in righteousness. And that's what we're looking forward to. So we'll close it off here in 2 Peter chapter 3. Start here at verse 10. A new heaven and earth. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. Right? Why is it coming as a thief in the night? Because instead of hearkening to the Lord's prophets, hearkening to his men, hearkening unto his word, and preparing yourself for his return, people out there marching like it's going to do something. In thee which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? Right? All these things being dissolved, that fervent heat being brought by, you know, when the Lord returns in the lasers, you know, from the chariots rain down on this place. But also all the missiles that are going to rain down on this place, right? All those nukes raining down on this place. And guess who's going to be caught up in those elements being melted together? All these niggas protesting, right? And ultimately those who over here in America who's not a part of the Lord's elect. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought you to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for, right? So you on the lookout, watching, waiting, and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Right? And let's get this in the NOT. Second Peter chapter 3 verse 10 in the NOT. But the day of the Lord will come as unexpectedly as a thief. Then the heavens will pass away with a terrible noise, and the very elements themselves will disappear in fire, and the earth and everything on it will be found to deserve judgment. Right? The earth and everything on it. And that's why, I mean, and not the whole earth, right? But dealing with specifically here America, that main place that's going to be hit. If you caught here in America when the Lord returns, you're through. Right? And that's why, you know, the Lord's elect are going to be beamed up into the chariot so they won't, you know, be caught up in it. As we read in Revelation 18. Since everything around us is going to be destroyed like this, what holy and godly lives you should live, looking forward to the day of the Most High and hurrying it along. On that day, he will set the heavens on fire, and the elements will melt away in the flames. Right? So that's the spirit the Lord's elect are going to be in. Right? Hastening that day. Verse 13, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's why we want this cruel Lord, because Trump is pushing prophecy along, man. We already see him out there causing hell on Jacob, which is only going to get worse. Right? That cruelty and that fierceness hasn't even hit its peak yet. This is all just the beginning. But we see the meat of Jacob's trouble soon, right? We can see it coming. Look at how he's going against the northern kingdom, right? And now he's even coming up against the southern kingdom, man. All these videos out here, watching these ICE, these federal agents tackled people, strangled people, got children locked up, splitting families, so on and so forth. Right, we see this digital age being pushed heavy. You know, this is all leading to the end. It's all leading to the return of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the King of Kings. All leading to that new heaven and new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. You know, so with that being said, once more, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah HaKodash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. You know, Lord willing, this video was edifying, uplifting, or informative in some way, shape, or form. Right, shalom to the hopeful elect.